We live in a marketplace today where having data is not the issue. Getting access to it and deriving intelligence from it is really where the issue exists. And by and large, it's because of all of the disparate operating systems that exist in capturing data. So if you think about all of the vendors that exist in our ecosystem and how customers work with them, and if there is an exchange of data, then that means they're needing to capture that and they store it. But if you're a company and you want to run a successful business so you can deliver your value proposition to your customers, being able to have access and derive intelligence from that data is often priority number one. But when you have an incredible ecosystem of vendors that are storing data in hundreds, if not thousands of systems, depending on the size of your company, it makes it really difficult for companies, marketers in particular, to be able to extract that data. It's a lot of manual labor, it's a lot of cost. And so what happens is there's a tremendous amount of labor, tremendous amount of cost that's spent on trying to reconcile across all the various databases that exist. And then once you do that, then you have to take it, harness it, derive intelligence from it, to then ultimately use it to shape the operations of your business. What an exhausting process. And so that's the challenge that we as marketers face today. We also spoke a little bit earlier on a panel about needing to have all of the systems work, needing them to be able to extract the data appropriately, and we have challenges in how operational a lot of these systems are as well. And then you compound that with the challenge that gets created when you have data sitting across so many systems. You start to have trust and data privacy issues that exist at the customer level. So this is the state of the marketplace that we live and work in right now. And I think what we need to focus on in particular as an industry is how do we work to reconcile these data sources more appropriately to the advantage of us as marketers so that we can ultimately operate with a higher sense of urgency, a higher sense of protection of data, and ultimately then at the experience of the customer that they'll benefit from. That's the objective. How we get there is something that I think we as a community of marketers, together with all functions within our company, especially at our CEO level, that we need to focus on solving for. So last year at the Microsoft Ignite conference, we announced between Microsoft, Adobe, and SAP the Open Data Initiative. And essentially, it was our three CEOs, Bill from SAP, Satya from Microsoft, and Shantanu from Adobe, recognize that data needs to be the core foundation of how we work to operate the strength of our individual value propositions. And we have customers that use all of our services, use various applications across SAP, across Microsoft, across Adobe. But the problem at the customer level is because there's data sitting in so many different systems that aren't connected, it's very time consuming and very intensive for a customer to be able to use the data that each of our companies produce to their advantage. And we recognize that as three companies, and we also recognize we're all in the business of serving the customer. So how do we make things easy for them? So we created this Open Data Initiative, which essentially allows us to take all of the data between our three companies and create a common data lake that allows us to get more intelligent at the customer level and to deliver things that are going to be meaningful for them. So for example, when you have common data systems, your ability to drive artificial intelligence, machine learning at the point of sale transactionally for a company becomes more relevant and more of an ability for you to achieve that faster. And so our ability to do that makes it easier at the customer level. This year at the Adobe Summit, Unilever is one of the first customers across the three companies that is working now to build this common data lake for Unilever in particular, which we're very proud about. And we're continuing to expand the partner ecosystem as well, that we also announced at the Adobe Summit earlier this year. Again, the more partners we can bring into this, the more it helps become to the advantage of the customer, so they don't have to go through the different systems, but we can do that for them.